Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for March 8th, 2022, Special Conspiracy Edition. This is about a conspiracy. It's not conspiracy theory, although I will add some conspiracy theory about China at the end. It's not conspiracy theory, this is about a conspiracy fact, about the conspiracy, the Putin conspiracy. And just to make a point, while there's a lot of other conspiracies, it's just like there's other criminal gangs out there that aren't connected to this conspiracy, this is the big conspiracy. And they have an alternate conspiracy theory that generates a whole bunch of hoopla, which you've heard of some before, like QAnon stuff, that's not true. It's actually the opposite of the truth in every case. And they take advantage of any people's distrust and questioning and soak up all the attention to that with this fake conspiracy. The fake conspiracy, the conspiracy theory, is hiding the true conspiracy. The true conspiracy is just oil and military war companies conspiring against the rest of the world to, do what they're doing. So Putin's kind of the point man on this. And you can focus in, before I get to what I have to say about China, you can focus in on Trump as Putin's puppet. Now, we all know Trump is Putin's puppet. That's a fact. It's not a theory. It's the conspiracy. The conspiracy is Trump and Putin. We have lots of evidence about this. I don't want to go into it now, but even Joe Biden called Trump to his face and in front of millions of viewers during the debate, Putin's puppy. Now, the problem is Joe Biden did that to get our votes, to say, yeah, he knows what's going on. He's going to treat it, like what it is. And Joe Biden hasn't done that. He hasn't acted like Trump is a foreign invader or treasonous Putin puppet trying to overthrow America, which Trump is still trying to do. Now, we also know from Trump calling Putin every day, especially before his meeting with the governors, is one standout moment to me when he called Putin that morning to ask him what to tell the governors at the beginning of the George Floyd protests. But I think he called Putin every day. Now, Trump's not very smart, honestly, but he's smart enough to know that Putin was telling him what to do. He might be so stupid that he thought he was doing his own, that doesn't even realize he was getting manipulated, but he's probably smart enough to know that he was getting manipulated by Putin. Now, Putin thinks he's smart and probably doesn't think he's getting manipulated by anybody, but he's not smart enough to know if he is. And that's what gets to my other conspiracy theory. Who's controlling Putin? Now, maybe nobody's controlling Putin. He seems to be acting like a total madman. And most likely he is. Trump was also acting like a madman, but he was acting like a madman under instructions from a madman. And that doesn't excuse him. It doesn't mean it's not his fault, because he continued to do it and continues to do it. Kind of like a Pied Piper of Trump Putineers. And he piped them all into this treason cul-de-sac where there's nowhere to go and they're kettled in or whatever. And, it's a open season on treasonous Trump Putineers. It's like everyone's going to see them for what they're worth eventually. And most of the people you see online are just online trolls anyway. They're not, only maybe 1% of them are actually ever were American. But they put this agenda out there as if there's a whole lot of Trumpers. There's really not. And the number will diminish very rapidly as people realize what they stand for, which is just Putin. Now, Putin's not smart enough to work both sides of the thing. He's all in for his ideology, which is all lies, and it'll all be exposed. What Biden should do, sanctions and providing weapons, all those things have been helpful, and a no-fly zone might be helpful as well, or it might involve a greater war, and that's what everybody's debating about at this moment, March 7th, March 8th. But the one thing that that Biden could really do to cheese Putin off, or to really show him that we're not Putin up with his BS anymore, is arrest Trump. Trump's deserved it for all sorts of reasons, but go ahead and, let everybody know, hey, we're done with Putin's invader of the USA, Trump and the Trump Putineers. And make a show of that. That's important. But here comes my theory, because I had to wonder, is somebody controlling Putin in a way that he's not aware of? That Putin thinks he's doing his own thing, but maybe somebody's feeding him some false assurances or something like that, giving him a false impression of things. And if you've seen my channel before, you know that I'm pro-China. I have a bias towards China. I always have. I can't tell you why right now, but because it's a lot. But I love China, and so I don't want to say anything against China. But of course, it's concerned me that my biggest criticism of China, the thing that I know for a fact they're doing, is not condemning Putin. A lot of other things I've heard about China, I've heard from a racist American media that doesn't portray China well, so I don't trust it. But I know for a fact from China that they haven't condemned Putin, and that concerns me about China. For one, I want China to disassociate from Putin so that they don't go down with Putin. But it does make me think, while I'm being suspicious of China in this case, because that is suspect, to not condemn Putin is suspect for any country. So while I'm suspicious of what could be their agenda, what if they are controlling Putin or, manipulating him in a way that he's not aware of? What's the agenda? Because the direction Putin seems to be going is to destroy Russia. I mean, he's going to physically try to destroy Ukraine probably, but he's ultimately going to destroy Russia or destroy his regime in Russia. Either, hopefully, by a revolt. Please, Russian people, go ahead and take care of them yourselves. Hashtag Pillow Revolution. But maybe by these sanctions, maybe the government economy will collapse and somebody will need to step in, which makes me think if China and Turkey and Ukraine, other countries bordering Russia, and maybe other ones as well, take parts of Russia to govern it after Putin collapses, maybe that's the goal. It would be very sinister, and I would not approve of that from China. If you're doing that, please stop doing it. The much better thing to do is to rein Putin in, muzzle him, pull him back, yank that chain, get him back in line. Because, and you're starting to do that, appreciate that. I did hear that China has encouraged Putin to do peace talks with Zelensky, and that they've had another third round of talks, but Russia's still shelling civilians in, ceasefire escape routes. So it's like, time to stop, because you're going to destroy more than one country if you keep it up. So hopefully this isn't the case, but hopefully Putin can be reined in by his friends or enemies or everybody